Hey everybody, I'm Paul Cram. I'm really happy to be able to say that I've completed and finished reading Scythe by Neal Shusterman. Um, it's interesting actually. I'm excited to have read the book, and I'm excited to be able to finally chat about it a little bit. It's one of those books that I've seen for years actually. Um, on the bookshelf at the library and on shelves at bookstores, like Barnes and Noble and all of them. Um, and I was always curious about it. I think the art, cover art is pretty cool, and eye catching. Um, and I've always been curious about it. So I finally picked it up. I read it. If I had to, I'm gonna talk for a little while without any spoilers. I'll give you a heads up once I start, if I do start doing any spoilers, so you guys are good. But um, it's a fun read. I would definitely recommend it to people. um, there's a lot of good things that go into the writing and to the pacing, and just it kept me interested. It kept me turning the pages, I guess. Even from the very first page, it kind of dives in, and it does a really good job, I think, of keeping one's attention and kind of presenting the ideas that the author has in this dystopia that exists. So, yeah, I would, if I had to give it like a out of a 5-star rating, um, I would probably give it like a 4.5. Why I wouldn't give it a 5? Um, I guess I'm trying to put my finger on it. I don't know, because I did enjoy it, but I guess I would say I would give it about a 4.5, because I can't say 5 because I don't know. Probably because it's not like I loved it, but I was very entertained reading it. I enjoyed the characters a lot. I enjoyed the plot. Um, yeah, I am going to start jumping in. I wrote down a few questions actually, and they might have some spoilers. So if anybody hasn't read it yet and you don't want to hear about some of the more, I just don't want to filter anymore. So click away, click away. So I wrote down just a few questions. What did you think of the first sentence? I have to say, this is one of those books that the author does a bang up good job of, just right out of the gate, just bam, really launching into the story. Um, there are there are the beginning of each chapter has kind of like a diary entry, not from the main character but from some other characters in the book, which I did find interesting. But so I'm not going to consider that the first line of the book, even though I think technically it is. But I'm going to go here where it says one. The first line of the book is, "The Scythe arrived late on a cold November afternoon." That's the first sentence. What I love about this, I'm just going to read a little bit further. Citra was at the dining room table slaving over a particularly difficult algebra problem, shuffling variables, unable to solve for x or y, when this new and far from pernicious variable entered into her life's equation. Um, and her mother proceeds to answer the door, and the Scythe asks if he can come in. I love how the tension is just immediate. If you have somebody that's dressed like the Grim Reaper and they knock on your door, and you find out that what it tells you so much in the first page of the book of what to expect and what this world kind of sets the parameters for this world. Um, because in this world, um, if any, basically, dying, like humanity has figured out how to reset themselves, meaning time. So like if you once you become 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 years old or whatever, you can reset yourself so that you can go back to being 20 years old, 25, whatever age you want. And you can just keep resetting, resetting, resetting. You don't ever have to die. Even to the extent that, if somebody gets hit by a car, falls off a building, gets shot, dies, whatever, they actually can take you to a center and you will be revived. So basically, humanity has conquered death, I guess, so to speak. So to balance that, they come up with what they call scythes. And these are people that go around and they knock on your door or however, and they generally show up and they will kill somebody. And when they kill you, you don't get revived, you actually die. So it's a very intriguing, interesting world. And yeah, I think that opening, it does a really good job. I think the author did a bang up good job. Does the book remind you of any other authors? I think that the book reminds me, the world, I guess maybe it's just the style. It's something that the author, the way that he writes, and it might just be I don't think it's just the genre. Um, I need to read more by Neal Shusterman and kind of see how his other pieces are. I kept being reminded of the Hunger Games, and it's something. There's a specific moment that I was like, this really, Citra, the main character, I just kept thinking of Katniss Everdeen. And there's a moment in the book when Citra is kind of on the lam. She's escaping the situation, and she's running through the snow, and she like crashes into it's burned in my mind, the visual that the author painted there, where she's crashing through like down the slope, and she crashes. I think he uses a phrase like she crashes into some evergreens that have snow on them. So for some reason, just the way that the author speaks and stuff like that, it reminds me a lot of the Hunger Games. And oh my gosh, I'm having a brain blip. What's the author's name of the Hunger Games? Good grief. Good grief. It's on the tip of my tongue. I can anyway, it's going to come to me. So yes, I would say that the author has a similar voice to me as the Hunger Games author, and that is going to bug me, so I've got to look it up. It is Collins, Suzanne Collins. I'm sorry, Suzanne, but yeah, there's something specifically in here that where I was noticing a similar, I don't know, just a similar vibe, and it might be the character as well. Who is your favorite character and why? I enjoyed Citra. I thought that she was fun. Like I said, she already kind of reminded me a little bit of Katniss Everdeen. But the character that I really was my favorite, he actually comes in right away, and I want to give you the exact name because otherwise he is a Scythe, and I want to say it's Faraday, but let me just double check. The color of the robe, I pulled that down. I'm sorry, I should have looked this up before I started recording. Anyway, Scythe Faraday, I'm pretty sure is his name, but yeah, Faraday. Yep, Honorable Scythe Faraday. He's my favorite. I liked his whole take on I like, well, I mean, he's the one that kind of stirs the pot and gets this whole story going, because he's the one who shows up and knocks on the door. But he really shakes things up in when he takes on Citra, so as an apprentice. Um, yeah, and I appreciated his whole entire perspective and his whole take on being a scythe, and how the weight that he brought to it. So I would have to say Scythe Faraday was my favorite character. I really liked Scythe Curry as well. She was pretty, I don't know, I guess I liked all the Scythe Scythe Curry and Scythe Faraday. I like the ones who took they took their grim reaping job very serious, and there was a weight to it, and you could tell that they had good character, and they were moral about it as much as they could be. So I mean, they're written to be liked and loved, and I did. um yeah, yeah, those would be my favorites. I'm gonna wrap this up here, but I do think Scythe, I am gonna get the next book in the series. I think it's called The Thunderhead. um yeah, I'm curious to read more of Neal's work. I can tell just from looking at some of his other books that I have not read yet that a consistent theme with his is dying and life, and like the morality of killing and just different things like that. Like I can see it. I believe, yeah, the author of Unwind, which I think is something that I definitely will be adding to my list to read, because I think it sounds really good. Anyhow, have you guys read Scythe? I'm curious to hear your thoughts on it. Comment or reach out. I'd love to know. All right. Thanks.